Hey guys, Bobby here today. Hey guys, today we're continuing on our 2.5 liter series here, but we want to make a quick little video on how to install spark plugs, okay? And this will actually carry on with any type of vehicle, the tips that you're going to learn today, so stay tuned. Okay guys, here in our cart here today, we have our 8 spark plugs because our little 2.5 liter has 2 plugs per cylinder. And we're going to go ahead and unbox a couple of these just to show you what they look like. And so there's what your spark plug actually looks like for your car today. A couple tools that you are going to need: a spark plug gapper, okay, and you need to know the specification for the gap on the plug, okay. And we just went out and looked at the vehicle, and it's typically on the emissions label, the engine label. And for this particular car, it's 42 to 46 thousandths, so we're going to gap them at about 42. Another thing that I highly recommend is some anti-seize, okay, right here, put on the plugs. And some of the tools that you'll need: a big straight blade screwdriver with a big tip on it, an old plug boot, okay, and I'll show you what we use those for. Right here is a set of gear wrench, spark plug, socket, and extensions that are actually already made together. This is a good little set to have, and I will put a link down below. This will just about do every type of car that you run into, and good little set of tools to have. And guys, I'll talk about the torque on a set of plugs today, and I'll also show you what I would torque them if I was going to use a torque wrench. So stay tuned and we'll get this job taken care of. Okay, first thing that we want to do is gap these plugs. Here's our little spark plug gapper here. As you notice, it starts down here on 20 thousandths and it goes all the way up to 100 thousandths. And all you have to do is stick the electrode right here on the tool itself and start walking this way, okay? Now, as you can see, this sucker here actually is gapped at about 50 thousandths of an inch, okay? We're gonna have to make a couple adjustments here. Let's just go ahead and roughly check all of them. That was about 50. It looks like they're all, that's about 54 there. So we're gonna actually have to do some adjusting on these, and I'll show you what we do here in just a moment. I'm gonna go ahead and check all of them, and they're all about the same here. Okay. Alrighty, so they're all registering about 50 thousandths of an inch, 50 to 54. Okay, that's a little bit too wide of a gap for our plug here, so let's get these adjusted. Okay guys, here's an old body dolly, okay, just for use for body work, and you can get something heavy like this right here and take your plug and just give it a little tap, okay? Don't take very much. And what we're going to do is just kind of give each one of them a little tap until we get them all like we want them. Okay, and that's just about right there. So let's move on to the next one. Okay, now the next step, folks, is to go ahead and put some anti-seize on the threads of your spark plugs, okay? And typically what I do is I'll just grab a plug, and you don't want to get it down here near the electrode, okay? Because you're going to end up, you could actually foul your plug out. And what I do is just hit right there about the middle of the spark plug to where I come down a couple threads where I don't have it, all the way, and I just kind of wipe it about that much right there. And that's actually usually enough. Actually, I got a little bit too much, so I'm gonna wipe it just a tad off with my glove, and that little bit of anti-seize right there will do you just fine. Okay, you don't want to get crazy with this stuff. Well, actually, I will go just a little bit further around. Let me go just a little bit further around, okay? About halfway to 3/4. You don't really even have to make it all the way around. It's going to spread itself out as you screw it in, okay? Now, so I'm going to go ahead and put the anti-seize on all the plugs, and then we'll start installing them. Okay, next of all, guys, we're going to use our big old tip straight blade screwdriver and an old spark plug boot. I keep this one around in my toolbox. It's been in there for years. and you can shove that in there, and we're actually going to use this as a tool to actually install the spark plug. So let's take one spark plug and let's just put it in here just a little ways like so, and notice we have our anti-seize on there. Give you one last look at about how much you need on there. Okay, now let's take it straight on over here to the engine block, and we'll just go right here in this bore here. And the reason I use a screwdriver and a rubber boot to start my spark plugs, it will keep you from stripping something out. Okay, and if you're on a car with a, you know, you can't get the screwdriver in there, but you can get just that in there. Well, you stick your spark plug in here like that, and say you're crawling over a fender well and you're trying to get one of these started, you know, you can reach in there and go ahead and just start it by hand. And this is much better than having a socket or something on it and you actually accidentally cross thread something. Okay, so that's why I highly recommend the old screwdriver tip and old plug boot for installing your plugs. So let me go ahead and get the rest of these installed this way, and then we'll talk about proper torque. Okay, we've got our spark plug socket out of our kit here, and we're going to use the one with the longest extension since we're, you know, we're not trying to fit inside a fender well here. We got it on the engine stand, and it's a 5/8. Okay, so, and what I have here is a little short ratchet. Okay, to where I can't get like a whole lot of force on it. Okay, because I think a lot of people over tighten spark plugs, and that's a big misconception. Okay, the torque on a spark plug is typically anywhere from like 15 to 20 foot-pounds at the most, and usually I do them by hand. I use a short ratchet where I don't over tighten anything, and I'll show you just how I do that right there. That feels pretty good and just a little snug right there. Okay, and I'm gonna go ahead and just continue on, and you kind of get that feel for it. Now let's say you don't really have that feel for it, because maybe you're then maybe this is your first time. Okay, and if you want to use a torque wrench, that is a-okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and use our little 3/8 drive torque wrench, and I think I've already got this one set on about let's see here, where are we at here? Let me put it on. I'm gonna set this at about 17 foot-pounds. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let's see what that feels like. Let's see if that's any tighter than I actually tightened it. And right there, look at there, guys, 17 foot-pounds. That's about what I tightened it. So we'll go on to the next one, and that's about what I tightened that one. We'll go to the third one, and that's what we're tightening these plugs to. Let's move on over to the other side. You can bring the camera right over here. And if you'll do this, you'll never have a problem. It's enough to seat the plug, keep it from falling out, and the next guy will be able to get the plugs out of the engine too. So there we go, guys. How to install a set of spark plugs. And I think I've covered about everything here. I would say probably the two most important things about plugs is putting something on the threads. Okay, this goes into a cast iron head, and most of your cars today are aluminum heads. You definitely want to have something on those threads, anti-seize. Okay, so I definitely highly recommend that. And the starting of the plugs, using a rubber boot or something like that, to where you don't actually create a problem that you didn't have before. So thank you for stopping by, checking out this little video today. Check the description down below. I'll put a link to the gear wrench set of spark plug tools and a couple of the other items as well. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you next time. Take care.